morning. So I just finished my Tuesday morning workout. Got a really good workout in, focused on lower body, and happy I got that over with to get my day started. Started off a little bit dragging this morning, but nevertheless, I made it. So happy to get that out of the way. One thing I want to talk about is making time for yourself. You know, me and some of my girlfriends went to the mymentor.life concert on Sunday, and we decided to stay in Fort Worth, which was closer towards the arena. For some of us, it was a 45 to 60 minute drive, so it just made sense leaving the concert. We'll stay the night there. Got up yesterday morning, had breakfast together, and then everyone went our separate ways. But one thing that we talked about was making time for ourselves, making time for our passion, our purpose, you know, just our business, and how that can be difficult, not just with our 9 to 5, but then also the commitments that we have to our other friends, family members, and how do you say no? And one of my girlfriends shared that, you know, basically up until Thanksgiving, their weekend is busy. Every weekend up until Thanksgiving. And I remember at one point, I used to be that person where every weekend I had some type of plans. A lot of times I had plans Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and the burnout on my body. But where I am now is completely different. And this is something I'm gonna really spend a lot of time, you know, talking about later. But, you know, I have been basically isolated, and I mentioned this in another video where I pulled back to really focus on myself, and it was unintentional, but I think intentional, if that makes sense. Like, it wasn't that I set out to say, I'm gonna pull back from people, I'm going to limit phone calls, limit text messages, you know, limit my social media interaction. It was never that. It just naturally happened based on my responsibilities. And it's crazy because I have more responsibilities at work, more responsibilities with my business, and I feel like this is probably the most productive I've been in a long time. I'm getting up at 5:30 a.m. to work out at 6 a.m. When I'm going to the gym, I'm actually waking up at 4:45 a.m. Then I'm going to work. I'm working on my 9 to 5, more responsibilities. I have more direct reports. And then I work at my 5 to 9 in the evenings, whether that be YouTube, my website, my women's improvement call, as well as Instagram. And I feel rested, I feel the most productive, and I pull back in certain areas. And I was sharing with them, sometimes we have to choose ourselves. We have to say no, even when it feels uncomfortable. If people are truly your friends, family members, if they care about you, they'll understand. You know, I was telling one of my girlfriends Sunday that, you know, hey, I know I really haven't been communicating, but, you know, I still love you, girl. And she basically said, what wasn't said was understood. And she knows that. And that's the people that you want around you, not people who make you feel like you're obligated to drop everything you're doing or obligated to always do something with them when you have other responsibilities. And to be in a place where I am more, you know, I have more things on my plate, but it doesn't feel that way. And here's just a couple tips of things that I've done. So in the evenings, I don't, you know, I'm not a person that really likes to talk on the phone anyway, but in the evenings, I reserve that for myself. I try not to make phone calls in the evenings, and then also I try to make that my time. One of my friends needed to stay here for a couple weeks in the process of moving, and you know what? After work, whether I was working here or I was coming home from the office, I'll, you know, talk a little bit. Hey, you're good. Do you need anything? You know, we may talk for about 15 to 30 minutes, and then I'll say, hey, you know what? I got to get ready for bed. I got some things that I need to do before bed, and check in again. Is there anything that you need that I can get for you, you know, before I call it a night? She didn't need anything. That was my boundary there. I could have sat up and talked all night with her, but I knew I had to be up early in the morning, and I knew there was other things I needed to review before bed. So I was very intentional about limiting our conversation because I know we could talk for hours. Also, Something else that I've done is, so typically I might work a few hours on the weekend when it comes to my corporate America job. And what I started doing was Saturdays, so instead of Sundays going into Monday, looking at some things, I moved it to Saturday. And then the last couple of weeks, I was very intentional. Okay, make sure you block off times on your schedule when you're on Do Not Disturb, where you can get certain things done that you know you're carrying over into the weekend. And I've been able to do that. If I do log in, it might be an hour, maybe 2 on Saturday, and I have completely reserved my Sundays for myself. Not just from work, but then also friends. One of my friends asked about brunch, and I gave her all Saturdays. And I said, you know what, Sundays will be the day that I'm keeping for myself. So I really would like to, only, if you're gonna do a brunch, Saturdays work best for me. And that way it allows me to completely disconnect and recharge. If there's some things I need to do for my business, I can do that, but I can rest, I can watch TV, if I wanna go out and do something by myself, I can do that. But Sundays are just for me. So that's really, really been helpful. And then also, my form of communication with text messaging. I think sometimes we can get lost in text messaging. So I do like to do audio messaging, which has been very helpful versus sitting and texting. Sometimes those can get long-winded. But I do audio message versus the text messaging when needed. And then truly limiting my social media. But then also on YouTube, being more intentional about what I'm listening to, and the inspiration of being able to see other women who are really, really grinding and being intentional about going live and posting consistently. That has also given me a push to really be more consistent with my work as well. So I just want to say, if you are a person who wants to fulfill your dream, who wants to start focusing on your goals, but you just don't know where, look at where you have distractions. Look at where you're busy for no reason. Look at where you can say no, right? Are you spending your time with certain individuals every weekend, every other weekend, where you can give some of that time back? Are these the same individuals that you talk to every day? Do you have to talk to them every day? Can you talk to them every other day? Can you talk to them 3 times a week? Can you catch up on the one day on the weekend? Same thing with family, and I know it's harder with family, but do you have an individual in your family that you talk to every day on your way to work, on your way from work? Can you be spending that time listening to an audiobook that will help you with your business, listening to a podcast? There's so many things that I think we can do to give us back time to help us towards our goals, but we may not think about it, or we just don't know how to start. And I think some of it is just eliminating some of the distractions that may not feel like a distraction, writing out where you feel like writing out what you want to do, then looking at your schedule and what you can do to eliminate some waste and distraction, even if it means, reducing the contact that you have with family and friends to achieve your goal. So I know this is long-winded, but I thought that was very important to me, because how is it that you have more responsibilities, but you find more time to do what you need to do? I'm well rested for the most part. I'm taking care of my corporate America job and my 5 to 9 business, and I feel like I've been the most productive. How did I make that happen? And it really started with me choosing my time and really, really focusing on myself and being comfortable with saying no.